Welcome to Elite Rounders YouTube channel. Today we discuss a little bit how does it really look like to be online professional and an online poker player. And I think it's like the reality is not anything what people expect. Like it's kind of like in terms of like how it is. I think it's very similar. The days are very similar, and kind of when you get good at the game, it's kind of the playing is kind of similar too. And it is a grind in a sense, but again, if you want to be good in anything, it is kind of similar. Like think about being a good footballer. You just have to do the same things and improve, keep improving. Maybe changing your method sometimes when it's not working, everything like that. So the days look kind of similar. You wake up, you study a little bit, you go eat, you try to exercise when you have energy. That's one thing which is really tough. Consistency is the key. In my case, it's more like you take a month break, you play intensely a couple months, and then you take break again. But some people play 4 or 5 days a week, all the time. Um, Whatever works, but consistency in the long run will be very important. Um, all those big wins, if you have big tournament wins, it's not going to last forever, the money. So you still need to like play consistently so you beat the variance and so on, so on, so on. So I think consistency is a very big part of this in the end. And especially if you do play like tournaments for living, it's a mental battle. Like this game is so mental that you will have to be disappointed like basically every day, and you're competing against other good players like every day. It's not easy. It's a little bit like footballers would have to play every day against each other, which technically they do, I guess, in practice. And it's training. Like if you feel like every day you just have to battle your enemies. I mean, think about going to war for 10 years. Like it's not easy. I'm sure some people have done it in the history, or 20 years. So it's like there's no friends on the battlefield, like in a sense. Well, I hope you can trust your own teammates. I mean, on army, obviously, if you're just talking about like battles in real battles. I mean, but in poker, there's no friends at the table, right? Like everybody wants to win your chips, like um, at least they should. So again, it's kind of like every day you just need to be ready to be fighting other people in a sense. It can be mentally training a bit for sure. Um, I think this is one of the hardest part is that you actually live like healthy and steady life, because those wings again they do matter, and the sleeping becomes kind of messed up very easily. It's like you register one wrong tournament and you end up playing till 8 a.m. And then let's say your schedule was to wake up usually like 11, and now you were playing till 8, so the next day is totally messed up. Either you don't sleep at all, or you can't sleep because maybe you had some late run in tournament. It's very tough to cool down when you're playing for like big amounts of money for yourself. It's not so easy to just lay down and go to sleep after. So you need that couple hours. Maybe sometimes you don't sleep at all if it's like too big thing. So it's sometimes the sleep will mess you up like completely. So it's very important that you are able to recover from all the stress what this game gives you, basically. Uh, but the hardest part is living like really like steady and healthy life, especially like uh, when you don't sleep well. I see that those months, like sometimes I take 1 month break from example play. I see that my life is getting healthier and healthier, but then I go back to playing online, it kind of goes disaster as well, and it pretty much happens because I don't sleep enough, or I don't like recover from this playing. So that's of course process I need to work on, and that's what I'm trying to work on. So I recover better, meaning sleep more, exercise more, everything like this. It's not so easy when you're trained all the time. When you don't have energy, it's tough to train, it's tough to do mentally. Everything is harder when you're like trained, like without that sleep. Life becomes way harder. Um, I think you need a lot of patience, first of all, to play poker. So if you play a lot, the patience will be used for poker, and in life you don't have so much patience. So that's like kind of the negative side. Um, then your friends, family, spouse need a lot of patience. That's also true because, like, again, it is pretty stressful, um, and you need to like they need to understand what you're doing. If they have no understanding that you actually have some stress from this, it's just like most people think I just click buttons and I make money. No, I have to, like, in a sense, like I have to battle these mental game to make them money. Like it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, oh, you play poker, it's that easy. You just click a couple buttons, that's it. No, it's way harder than you think. Um, and maybe it looks easy, like life looks comfortable because you have your own schedule, you can play, you can take some breaks sometimes and stuff like that. So I think outside person will never understand what you're going through. So sometimes it's not really worth talking about your life in a sense, because people think your job is a little bit of a joke. Like sometimes people can definitely see it that way, because they don't see like, oh, he doesn't really work, huh? He just clicks a couple times on computer or something, like, um, people can, I'm not saying every person sees it like that, but it is definitely possible. But I think it's very important that your family, spouse, and friends understand what you're doing. And sometimes mentally it is training, and sometimes you're just maybe down because of poker, like, and the poker swings will affect your life. Let's say on, like, last Saturday, I had good day. I was up a lot, and then Sunday came. I lost a lot. I lost basically everything I won, right? So I'm devastated. So it's like Saturday, woo, yeah, feeling great, feeling great. And then the next day, you're just crushed like a buck, and I lose everything I won. So I feel terrible. And then Monday, I win again, and I'm up again. But like, the feelings you have is just like you go from the high to the low to the high to the low. Like, I mean, it is insane. It is insane in terms of like mental health, and that's probably the hardest part. Like, I don't think being tournament professional is like that much about skill, but to able to sustain those swings like day in day out is probably the hardest part. And without like training yourself or still having good health and everything like that, I think that's the key skill in this game. But as you can see, like, it is very devastating when you're like going like high low high low high low, sometimes more high, hopefully, so you actually end up winning something. But that's why the game is so tough, mental aspect. But again, if you people are not so used to like swings, or they don't want to have swings, just play cash games or some other form of poker which is like low variance. Again, that's what a lot of people do. Or I know people who just like the consistent like graph which is going up, there's no swings ever. To me that's boring, but to these people, they just enjoy that you make money every month, the certain safe amount, basically, unless they are super, super, super unlucky. But most of the months they will end up making money. Tournaments, that's not the case. Sometimes you will lose, simple as that. But yeah, it's tough to be 100% happy when the games are going bad. This is definitely true. When games are tough and you have that, like, you've been playing like 4 months and you haven't gotten any results, the life becomes really, really tough. Of course, it's like you will sometimes have questions like, am I good for it? Like, even if like with your resume, in a sense, like, that this game will give you like, sometimes 6 months you don't make any money, you just break even or something, you might be losing as well, and that's when they test you. That's when a lot of people would give up, but you can't give up. But I think it's also a point, like, whenever these downswings happen or break even stretches, you need to be critical about your game. Is this a bad luck, or is this that you're not winning anything? So I think there needs to be made, definitely, like, I think that's why I like the downswings and break even, because you can start focusing on your game again. At least you get that wake up call, like, maybe I'm not that good. So, and you need to focus on the game and fixing the issues. So I think it's kind of good mentally that poker kind of wakes you up. Like, this will always happen to you. So no matter what, you'll be slapped to face at some point. Like, come on, study your game, look at if there's some errors. So it's kind of nice in the sense that the game keeps you humble because it's never going to be like you're just winning, 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 winning. You know, that's not realistic. That's not going to happen. So I think that's good to keep in mind. I do think like what I put here was more like the realistic view of the game, to be honest. Like, but this is kind of negative. Maybe this came as a negative in a sense. These are not the best parts of the job for sure. So this was more like how does it really look like? Because when you look at like a lot of videos online, like hi, this is our how our coaching, I don't know, some let's say Federal Holds, they are doing some videos from their grind house. They are grinding. Everybody's happy. Everybody's going for a swim. Everybody's like, it's awesome, awesome, awesome. But I think the reality is still the life is not always awesome. And there are definitely the hard parts when it comes to this job. But these are the things you have to basically sustain or like be able to do long term in order to survive as a professional in this game. Um, so it's like I think it's good to realize what are the realities in this game. If you can't do these things, basically, I don't think poker is very good career for you because it will end up in self destruction in some way. So but I think it's good to keep in mind. Yeah, these are probably the hard part of this job. Um, so I think it's kind of like this is like the reality check of being professional. This might scare a lot of players, but that's why I think for some, poker is a great hobby. For example, because it's like you're not so relying so much on the results of the game, so you can be more calm. There's not that much stress. Um, so it's kind of nice as a side hobby, and then sometimes you win, right? That's awesome. So you're not maybe that stressed by the results in a sense because you're not relying 100% on the poker income to make your money. I think that's nice. So I think poker does make like an awesome side hobby uh, if you're not relying on the job that the money what comes from it that much. Um, but yeah, definitely if you are aiming to be professional and if you want to play it for a living, make sure that you work on your mental game because that's going to be the crucial part of your like game in a sense. The games are uh, fairly easy to beat, but then to beat your own demons, that's another battle you need to beat. So I think it's good to remember. um, and I would still add here that especially today, actually poker playing, you work with computers a lot. If you're not doing any work with computers or solvers or whatever these, you're just leaving behind. I'm like, I think it's essential for today that you work with some solvers, you work with this. If you're not doing any work, you're just leaving behind because like it's like you can fight evolution or development in a sense like, hey, I'm not going to use solver. Okay, well, you're missing out on a lot of good stuff because you just don't understand what other people are doing. And I think fighting the evolution is never going to work because it just means you are going to be left behind. So I think today poker has become more and more like work with computers, to be honest. And I think that's where it will just keep going more and more because these programs are getting better and better. And I'm amazed every day how much better and the softwares are getting. And in a sense it's a bit worrying, of course, because like these computers, they can tell you solutions that your mind just can't understand at this point. So it is very interesting. um, but overall it's not necessary right now still. But I think you don't want to fight the evolution where it's going because this is absolutely crucial part if you want to be a good player today to use these softwares. But yeah, I think that's about it. Like how it looks to be professional, like 2021. It was totally different 10 years ago. You would just look at one software once, like what do I push forward here? That's about it. That was the only thing you could really do with the softwares available, right? So there wasn't like too many things you could do. Um, but today it's totally different. Computers are changing the poker world, and that's part of it. I mean, again, adapt or die. I think it makes sense. But yeah, that's about it. This video came out maybe a bit more negative than I believed. I haven't written about the good things here, so maybe I'll make part two actually how does the normal day look like. This was more like reality check of the downsides as a poker player, but there are a lot of good things as well. So we should focus on those in some other video. Otherwise, but life as a professional, yeah, there are some tough parts, and I think this is the truth about it.